Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be reviewing the iPad case for the iPad Air 4 and the iPad Air 5 with the newly released M1 chip. This case came packaged in this packaging, which had a nice little foam insert which would keep the lid safe from being crushed while in transport. We're going to start out with the texture and feel. This case feels very nice to the touch. It's not slippery enough to the point where it could fall out of your hand, but it also isn't tacky enough to where it holds on to dust and causes other problems. The feel of this seems to be durable, so if you spill something on it, oil smudges, all of that should be quite easy to clean off. Okay, this case isn't a normal case as it also contains a container for the Apple Pencil. The pencil holder seems to be quite sturdy, although when you hold it by the middle, it does seem to be quite flimsy. And this could over time possibly break, but this material seems to be durable enough to the point where flexing it should not damage it. When it comes to removing the Apple Pencil, I think that it is fairly easy to remove. There's a little cutout on the side which you could put your finger in, which can easily prop up the pencil so you can take it out. And to put it back in, just push it in. One downside for it is that while pushing it in, there is a lot of force required, which over time could potentially wear out either the finishing on the iPad or the Apple Pencil. But overall, this pencil holder is very good at holding the pencil, and you will not lose it while it's inside of there. Since this is a cover case, it contains this little flap that covers the screen. Many cases that I've had, they usually tear at the hinges or by the joint where it joins to the case. However, this case seems to be built a little bit more solidly in the sense that there's a little bit of force required to bend it, which shows that there's more reinforced and will not rip as easily. This can also serve as a nice functional stand. You could use it to prop up your iPad so you can view content, or you could browse over your class notes and things like that. One downside of this is that you cannot move it to any position that you want. There's two set angles, both of which seem to be in the middle of what would usually be okay. For example, you're on your table using your laptop and you want to use your case next to it. One problem with that is this angle typically is way more laid back, which makes it very difficult to sometimes read, and the glare from the lights overhead make it also very difficult. Although this case isn't built the most and doesn't have the best viewing angles, it doesn't really matter as it gets the job done. If you wanted to simply get a steeper angle, you could always prop something between the case and the back of the iPad, and also make the viewing angle better. The new iPad Air 5 and the iPad Air 4 models also include Touch ID versus Face ID on the Pro models. This means that the Touch ID button cannot be covered by anything. This is somehow a downside with cases, as there usually is a protruding part of the case, which makes reaching the fingerprint sensor very difficult. However, this case has a nice little cutout by the bottom back camera, so it doesn't protrude and it makes it easy to use your finger to unlock the iPad. Since this iPad has an Apple Pencil holder on the right side, which is where all the volume buttons are, this case has a nice little mechanical feature where the buttons are extended out towards the left so that you can change the volume buttons, quite easily without having to take the case off. These buttons seem to be very clicky and they seem very durable. The mechanism inside is not flimsy, and I think that it will last many clicks to come. As a student, this case has come in very useful for protecting my screen from other objects inside my bag and to prevent it from small drops here and there. Using an iPad case makes me feel uneasy, as at any moment you could drop it or something sharp could scratch the screen, and as we all know, that isn't a cheap repair, so it's pretty expensive. And my overall conclusion is I would highly recommend getting this case. It comes in many different colors. One of the things that really stood out to me about this case was just build quality for the price. I think this case sells for a little bit over $10, which is nothing compared to all the other cases, but you get so much for your money. Although this case does have some downsides, I would still get it, as all the pros outweigh the cons. For example, I don't think anybody is all that picky about the screen angles. You could always just prop something up extra to make it just right. If you're trying to write on it, I would recommend not using the foldable case, as the iPad at that moment is very flimsy and it's very difficult to write on. While using the lower angle viewing mode, the hinge could be very easily broken if too much pressure is applied. Therefore, I would highly advise against using this iPad with an Apple Pencil while propped up. I'd rather just fold the case behind the iPad and use it flat on a table. When looking at the iPad case cover, the inside has this very nice soft covering, which helps eliminate fingerprints on your screen, but also seems to be quite easy to clean. So even if something gets spilled on this inside part of the case, you should be easily able to wipe it down, as the hairs aren't all that long. In general, it keeps your screen safe, and that's all that really matters. Thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next one.